Hey, it's Dorleen. Welcome to my channel and welcome to my creative life. I'm making a 2-page layout and I'm going to attempt to use all of these scraps from my Easter / spring / just colorful paper scraps that I have. What I decided to do is I'm going to attempt to make a sunburst. I believe that's what it's called. And I'm going to do on one sheet of 12 by 12 paper and then cut it in half into two 12 by 6s. So basically all I'm doing is just trimming these papers into strips, whatever strips they happen to be, and then I'm cutting them diagonally, which you can see here. I really don't have any specific width or length on these strips. I'm trying to just kind of go with the flow with what I have as far as the scraps. And I used pretty much all of these scraps, which is pretty cool for two reasons. One, I'm using all my scraps, which is always a good thing. And two, I get to buy more. Yay! There's always a yay, right? Okay, so right now, I have no idea what I'm doing. I've done a sunburst, years ago, but I think I followed like directions. This one, I was just trying to figure it out. Well, what I decided to do is put a circle or like a focal point, no, is that what you'd call it? Anyways, in the middle of this. And then I started putting all of the points directing to that circle in the middle. And that's when it started coming together. And you can see there that it was just kind of a hot mess in the beginning. And then as I put that circle there, now there's a direction to it. I just used my ATG and just put strips and strips and strips of adhesive instead of putting adhesive on each one of those strips or putting glue on each one. I think that would have just been kind of a pain. So you could see me just doing that right here. And again, there's that little focal point that I'm using to lay all of these strips down. Now, look at how fun all these papers are. Now, even though they're from different collections, they still have that same spring light. Not pastel. I definitely wouldn't say pastel because these are bright, but they all still have the same color scheme, so they all still go very well. I did throw a couple of I guess I wouldn't really call them solid, but like those, you can tell right there with the orange and even the green, it's kind of like a tone on tone. So they kind of can work as a solid if you needed them to be, but it does get a little bit of resting place for your eyes. So there's not so much pattern all the time, but it still coordinates with all the colors. But you see how easy that second side was because I had followed that point guideline. So there was no confusion while I was doing this. So once it's all put down, I'm going to go ahead and go to the 6-inch mark and just cut it in half. And this is where I have my sunburst for both sides. Now I'm at a crop here, so the lighting isn't the greatest, but you can perfectly see it. I think you don't have a problem. And I'm pointing out this part here because it needs a sliver more. I tried to remove that little pink part and then it was just stuck on there. And I thought, you know what, at this point, I'm just using some glue and covering it up. It's not that big of a deal because it's going to get covered up on the layout. Now, I'm going to be juggling around my photos for this layout or this 2-page spread because I have no idea where I'm putting them. Also, I'm at a crop and I'm one of those people that I hate to bring like my entire craft room when I go to a crop. I really try to stick to like one bag and maybe like another tote bag. This time I didn't bring my Cricut with me. I'm kind of hit or miss with my Cricut, kind of depending on what I want to do. I did not bring it with me like I mentioned. So I know I have additional embellishments to put on this, but I'm going to finish that up at home in my craft room. So again, I'm kind of fiddling. Do I want these going horizontally? Do I want them going vertically? I have I have a lot of pictures, so you'll see me playing with that a little bit. Now this little thing that I'm working on here, now this I did bring. This I used as a cake topper for Easter this particular year in 2024, so I knew I wanted to use this. Now those cute little chicks are from Printable, Cuttable, Creatables. I'll have a link to their website in the information box, as well as a link to my blog and also information on my Instagram account. But these little cuties or chicks are so cute. And because I had already used them or was planning on using them for the decoration, it only made sense that I made more of these chicks when I got home to finish embellishing the entire spread. So again, you're going to see me shuffling with the photos. I'm sure this is just like you. You know, it's like we put them one way and then we put them another and then we put it back the first way and then another way. It's so funny how much shuffling we do. And sometimes it's just a matter of, well, let me just move it a half an inch to one side. But it always makes me laugh because it does get to a point where you're like, no, I really think it does make a difference and it's going to go right here. So as far as that left-hand side, that's where the photo placements are going to be. I'm pretty committed on that. That was pretty easy. And I'm going to have a flip flap, which can't remember if I shuffled, so you could tell there's a lot more photos than just those three. There's 2 more photos now that are just kind of resting underneath these photos. So I am going to have a flip flap on that side. And then on this right side, I'm really struggling. And I eventually put those 2 pictures of my granddaughter horizontally. And the placement of the cake topper or the chicks, I glue it down. And I'm going to be honest with you, when I was putting it together later, I thought I didn't really like it there. It just seems like it floats. But, you know, when you're at the crop and I'm not fully paying attention to what I'm doing, and when I say that, I mean because I didn't have all the other embellishments, I wasn't fully paying attention. I really wish I would have held off on that portion because I just didn't like it. It just seems like it's floating there. And here, you know, who knows? It could have been midnight when I was doing this at the crop. And so I wasn't thinking or seeing correctly. I mean, it's cute, don't get me wrong, but I just wish I would have did something a little bit different on that one. But, you know, whatever, it worked. So at the end, I'm going to have a final look at the layouts. Now, the interesting thing is when I was putting it together or when I was finishing it, I thought I pressed play, but apparently I pressed play when I was adjusting my camera and then turned it off when I was actually getting ready to add these extra embellishments. So you don't really get to see it, but it's pretty simple. I basically just stack these chicks over on that left side. I put a journaling box and I add another chick over here on the right side, but on that top, top left corner on the right page, it just stays that blue and blank. So I'm still a little unsure if I want to put something there, but the problem is I don't know what that something is. Kind of thinking maybe some like banners or fishtail banners up there. Just something very basic, but at least to kind of fill the spot. But also, maybe it doesn't need to be filled. I think I'm one of those people who are just like, oh, no, too much white space, which is ridiculous because sometimes it's good to have white space, especially when I have all these pattern papers with this Sunburst. But anyhow, I hope you like this video. And if you do, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I do post 2 videos a week. One is always scrapbooking. The other is whatever it is I'm creating in the command center, which is the name of my craft room and also my blog. But here's the final pictures. Look at that. Aren't those little chickies so cute? Thank you again for watching. Again, I'll have all the links in the information panel. And again, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.